And we're glad you could make it today.
Me too.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is quite a week in June this year. We have the Father's Men's Day today. June 19th is Juneteenth, which is the celebration of the day the Union Army finally made it to Texas to let the people know they had been emancipated. And that's a very big celebration. And then we have not only the solstice, but on Friday, we have the strawberry full moon. So I was in my paper this morning. So not only do we have the yin energy of the sun, we also have the yang energy of the moon. Sun is masculine, moon is feminine. So we all come together this week.
Wow.
And I'd like to start with a little pagan prayer for the summer. Small plants, leaves and buds, growing in the soil. O fiery sun, may your rays of light and warmth bless us with abundance and allow these plants to blossom with life. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
On the altar this morning, we have yellow flowers to resemble the sun. We have Gaia, Mother Earth, because I'm sure these days she's very sad about a lot of things. And then I have a butterfly. There's going to be a poem a little bit later that mentions a grasshopper. I didn't have a grasshopper. So we have a butterfly instead. So the summer solstice is the counterpoint to the darkness of Yule, when we have the winter solstice. June 20th, 4:50 p.m. is when it arrives this year. It is also known as Litha, or the longest day. The sun is at its furthest point away, and it is the high point, or midsummer. Even for us, it's considered the beginning of summer, but they're calling it the midpoint. And this has been going on since the Neolithic era. In Northern and Central European Neolithic cultures, the summer solstice may have been related to timings of crop circles. It was typically marked by Celtic, Slavic, and Germanic people by lighting bonfires, intending to boost the sun's strength for the remainder of the crop season and ensure a healthy harvest. The solstice sits within a wider celestial framework, complemented by seasonal equinoxes marking spring and autumn, as well as daily, monthly, and annual cycles. Many Neolithic stone circles also appear to have been built around the movement of the sun at solstices. Because there are no written accounts from the time, it's difficult to be definitive about their exact person. However, stones appear to be carefully positioned to align with the sun's movements. Even in New York, you have the skyscrapers where the sun goes right through. Framing solar motion on summer and winter solstices, stones which were placed at the axis of a particular solstice were even shaped with hammer stones to frame the sunrise for those standing in the center of the circle. Though it might seem that the middle of summer would naturally fall on the longest day of the year, the summer solstice and midsummer's day are distinct events, normally a few days apart between the 20th and the 24th. The difference is thought to stem from variations in the Julian and Gregorian calendars. The longest day has been marked in different ways over the years and has its own set of customs. Some are based on practical needs, others originate from spiritual and superstitious beliefs. Lighting and jumping over bonfires on Midsummer's Eve dates to pre-Christian pagan customs. And to clarify pagan, the word pagan only means the people that lived in the country. That is all it means, and it's gotten so twisted over the years. Viking customs. The solstice was very important to the Nordic communities where seasonal changes in sunlight are very dramatic. The Vikings used their long days to maximize their productivity in hunting, settling disputes, and conducting raids, which is why a lot of us Western Europeans have a little Scandinavian in there. Mysticism and magic are a common theme in the midsummer folklore across the world, as well as in the UK. Magic was thought to be the strongest during the summer solstice, and myths told of the world turning upside down or the sun standing still at midsummer. It was seen as a time when the normal laws of nature or divinity could be suspended, when spirits and fairies could contact humans, when humans could exceed the usual limitations of their worlds. At a time when food and nature are in abundance, festivities often focus on fertility and the life-giving powers of the sun. Again, pagan Europe would light bonfires and dance all night, accompanied by rituals led by druids. Customs included the bonfire jumping, with the highest jump believed to predict the height of the year's crop, because they were growing grains and things, corn. In ancient China, the summer solstice was an important festival when workers were given the day off to celebrate. Ceremonies honored the earth and the feminine force known as yin. Similarly, the ancient Romans focused on Vesta, goddess of the hearth, home, and family. And it remains an important festival in many countries. Many people stay up on Midsummer's Eve to welcome the sun as it rises. Modern druids still gather at Stonehenge, although it is believed that Stonehenge really was not part of a solstice celebration. There are a lot of other stone circles that were, but Stonehenge, as years have gone on, has really been found to be a burial place, probably.
A what place?
Burial.
A burial.
Tradition states that ghosts can cross from the afterlife to this world, as in Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. It is thought that the fairy world is close by, bringing mischief and chaos to us mortals. Flower crowns are traditionally worn to ward off the more malevolent spirits. Also, the traditions focus on reconnecting with nature. So it's no surprise that trees and tree worship feature heavily in both ancient and modern festivities. The oak is at the center of the midsummer celebrations. The Celtic word for oak, dur, means doorway, and oak, as the king of the forest, is seen as a doorway to both the mystical realms and the new, darker cycle of the year that is about to begin. Because as we know, now we start getting darker. And there are some stories about the winter solstice, the summer solstice, and the battle between the oak king and the holly king, which is winter. The beech tree, brightening the forest with its fresh lime green leaves, is seen as the queen of the forest and consort to the oak king. To the Druids, it symbolized ancient wisdom, and it was the sacred wood of the summer solstice. In folklore, it is believed that if you write a wish on a beech twig, then bury it, your wish will come true. Hazel trees are believed to have magical properties and to protect against evil spirits. They were a symbol of fertility in medieval times. Stirring jam with a hazel twig is thought to stop those mischievous fairies from stealing it. The shimmering, trembling leaves of the beautiful aspen were believed to carry messages from this world to the afterlife. Wearing a crown of aspen leaves allowed the wearer to travel to the underworld and back. Traditionally, shields were made from aspen wood, as it was thought to protect against evil. So its symbolism was important at the mystical time of midsummer. Whatever your beliefs, there is no better time to celebrate trees in all their glory with an uplifting walk in the woods. And this was obviously written in the UK, because it says the mud is drying up and we are mostly liberated from our wellies. It is easy to feel real wonder at the natural world. And this year, if you would like to celebrate midsummer by dancing around one of your oak trees, go for it. This one tree I don't have on my property is an oak tree. The Druids likely led ritual celebrations during midsummer, but contrary to popular belief, it is unlikely that these took place at Stonehenge. Still, people who identify as modern Druids continue to gather at the monument for the summer solstice, winter solstice, and the equinoxes. And if you've seen any films, there are thousands and thousands of people there. According to certain iterations of the Greek calendar, they vary widely by region and era. The summer solstice was the first day of the year. Several festivals were held around this time, including Corona, which celebrated the agriculture god Cronus. The strict social code was temporarily turned on its head during Corona, with slaves participating in the merriment as equals, or even being served by their masters. The summer solstice also marked the 1-month countdown to the opening of the Olympic Games, which open here meaning France actually, this year. So in a year from now, we'll all be watching Paris maybe. In the days leading up to the summer solstice, ancient Romans celebrated the Vestalia festival, which paid tribute to Vesta, the goddess of the hearth. Rituals included the sacrifice of no, we don't want to do that. This was the only time of the year when married women were allowed to enter the sacred temple of the Vestal Virgins and make offerings to Vesta there. That sounds much more positive. The ancient Chinese participated in a ceremony on the summer solstice to honor the earth, femininity, and the force known as yin. It complemented the winter solstice ritual, which was devoted to the heavens, masculinity, and yang. Ancient Northern and Central European tribes, many Germanic, Slavic, and Celtic pagans, welcomed the summer with bonfires, a tradition that is still enjoyed in Germany, Austria, Estonia, and other countries. Some ancient tribes practiced a ritual in which couples would jump through the flames to predict how high those year's crops would grow. And again, it mentions the Nordic seafarers and how they could get out and discuss legal matters, resolve disputes, and raid their neighbors. Many Native American tribes took part in centuries-old midsummer rituals, some of which are still practiced today. The Sioux, for instance, performed a ceremonial sun dance around a tree while wearing symbolic colors. Some scholars believe that the Wyoming's Bighorn medicine wheel, an arrangement of stones built several hundred years ago by the Plains Indians, aligns with the solstice sunrise and sunset, and was therefore the site of that culture's annual dance. And after reading that, I thought, well, how did the indigenous Indians, American Indians, celebrate? Because we never hear a whole lot about what happened with them, and we've lost so much of their culture. And again, they talk about the medicine wheel with a diameter of 80 feet, aligns with solstice, sunrise, and sunset. At the center is a donut-shaped pile of stones, a cairn, connected to the rim of the outer circle by 28 spokes of stones. 6 more stone cairns are arranged around the circle, most large enough to hold a sitting human. Each orients a person to certain places on the distant horizon that indicate where the sun rises or sets on summer solstice. The structure is only reachable during the warmer summer months, as it was built at the top of a mountain range at 9,642 feet.
Wow.
Between 70 and 150 wheels have been identified in South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. It is believed that the Bighorn Observatory is simply one part of a larger creation of interrelated archaeological sites that represent 7,000 years of Native American culture, adaptation to their landscape. Many of the rituals were led by their either medicine man or medicine woman. These were the wise people. And the younger Indians celebrated, as I said, with the sun dance, which actually got outlawed in this country in the 19th century because it involved piercings. So that is what I found about solstices in very, very different places. And my friend Aaron Bruce, who does the Seasons of the Soul, talks about us absorbing the sun with our sunscreen, please, and just bringing that energy into us for the rest of the summer. And I would like to close with poem 133, The Summer Day, by Mary Oliver. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? The grasshopper, I mean the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. And that just brought memories to me of grasshoppers. I've not seen a grasshopper in many years.
Wow.
I don't know exactly what prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down into the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day long. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
That's very good.
Wow.
Oh.
Thank you.